Okay, I'm going to call this meeting to order of the City of Kerrville Planning and Zoning Commission. Item 1, of the call to order Visitor Citizens Forum. Well, before I start, let me take roll, please, if you would, Dorothy.
Yes, sir. Bob Waller,
Here.
Garrett Harmon,
Here.
Don Barnett,
Here.
Doyle Malone, Bill Morgan,
Here.
Michael Siegerman,
Here.
Rustin Zuber,
Here.
Glenn Andrew. Thank you.
Okay. Now we have a quorum present. Visitor Citizens Forum, any person with business not scheduled on the agenda is encouraged to briefly speak their ideas to the commission. Please fill out the speaker request form, give it to the commission's secretary prior to the meeting. The number of speakers will be limited to the first 10 speakers, and each speaker is limited to 3 minutes. No formal action can be taken on these items, as the Open Meetings Act requires formal action items to be posted on an agenda no later than 72 hours before the meeting. If formal action is required, the items will be placed on an agenda for a future meeting. I have a speaker request form from James Williams. If you'd approach the podium and give us your name and address, please.
I'm James Williamson. I live at 432 Fitch here in Kerrville. And now, if I'm the only visitor and they're 3 minutes each up to 10, does that mean?
No. Let me restate that.
Okay. I'm here representing the Kerrville Beautification Advisory Committee. We're advisory only. We make suggestions to the City Council, and that's our role. One of the things we've just started recently is a recognition of either old, unique, big, weird, unusual trees, okay? And it's gonna end up being mostly huge, giant, old trees. That's probably what's gonna happen most often. Well, we're gonna do that. And as that is recommended and we recognize them and so on, we got to thinking we probably should say to you, during your process of doing things when businesses are going to expand and do new building and new construction or rearranging, we would just say, can you encourage the owners to take into account any of those kind of trees, big, old, huge, unusual trees that you might at least look at trying to accommodate their living through the project. And that's just a suggestion, and hope that you can work with it. Okay?
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
For consideration and action, concerning a proposed final plat for Sidney Baker Community Plaza, a subdivision establishing lot 1 and 2 for a combined approximate 3.7 acres. Trent, would you bring us up to speed, please?
Yes, sir. About a month ago, this same final plat came to you for the final plat of the Sidney Baker Community Plaza for lot 1 and 2. Staff did post the agenda as required by state code. At the time we had it submitted, there were still some issues that staff could see with the plat. That's why staff was recommended denial. Between the time they submitted the plat and today, they've corrected our concerns. I corrected the concerns that the Planning and Zoning Commission and members of the public had the last meeting, and staff does now recommend approval of the final plat as presented. And we did, prior to this meeting, we did go ahead and put an updated, amended final plat in front of you. And we also have it up here on the screen for the audience to.
What were the changes that you recommended?
So yes, some of the changes on the final plat were, if you look at one of the issues were the private access easement. We had them, there was a little corner there where they didn't have access. They went back and found a private driveway easement for that property that gave them access to enter the lot to resolve that issue. They went ahead and moved the sewer line, or the water line, I apologize, that angle so it would be within their property line and not going into that, it's about 24 square feet. To avoid that, They also made lot 2 into a flag lot, so that would be the shared driveway as I believe as the commission members of the audience suggested that might be a better route of allowing them to have access to their site. We also had them change the drainage easements to state private drainage easement and a private detention easement in the rear for this. We also had them extend the 20-foot City of Kerrville utility easement to all the way along the length of the property, and already in existence, but I'll just go and state it, is a 15-foot public utility easement in the front. So those are the changes, and they do resolve the issues from last time, and they meet all state and local requirements.
Okay, this is for consideration and action. Any comments from the commissioners?
I have some concerns. Trent, what is the normal driveway width that would be going into a subdivision, which is, there's essentially, these apartments, there's gonna be somewhat of a subdivision back there.
Right. Well, this isn't. It's usually not. It's roads or streets that go into a subdivision and not a driveway. That was one of the suggestions to change it from being a public access easement to a shared driveway between lot 1 and 2, in order for them to not meet the requirements of a public street.
It is not a,
It's not a street, it's a driveway. They do meet the requirements for fire, right there, for fire to access that, as mandated by state and local code. I believe a typical drive aisle width is 24 feet for fire, 24 to 25 feet, depending upon the height of the structures, and it goes up to 26 feet if the structures are above a certain height. And they've met that on the plat.
what is the distance between the property line and the building?
According on lot 1, the buildings are there. There's a building 1 and 2. The building that's adjacent to Aaron's, it meets the 7.5 foot setback requirement from when we talked to the surveyor. And the applicant is here to
25
verify.
feet plus 2.5 feet is what you're saying. It's 25 feet from the property line plus 2.5 feet to be
Right.
7.5 feet.
They meet it by 6. I believe we did calculations of 6 inches of what we were looking at. They meet the setback requirement on the side.
When I looked at it, I looked at it again today, the setback seems to be much further out in front than the other buildings in that area. Is this the normal setback, or did this go through ZBA?
For the use, this does meet the required setback in the front. On the development site plan of the 25 feet in the front, it does meet that requirement for that use.
And how much parking is allotted in that area?
I'd have to pull out the development site plan. I did not bring it with me, but during the development site plan process, they did meet the required parking that's based off of the square footage for building 1 and 2 within lot 1. Now, when it comes to lot 2 with that development, which is not part of the plat, they will be required to meet parking. They're actually in the process of right now trying to figure the layout of lot 2, but during the plat we don't discuss the parking.
That's where the gym is?
Lot 1 is where the gym and the office building. Lot 2
Lot
is.
one, okay, that's gym, but I'm talking about the lot
Yes,
one.
according to the development site plan, they meet all parking requirements for lot 1. Yes, sir.
I'm just looking at how much space UltraFit has out there for theirs and how much the other one had for parking. And if this is gonna be anything near like that, there's not as much parking.
I'd have to look at UltraFit and look at the total square footage of that structure and the uses within UltraFit, and just to determine their parking requirements. I wasn't here for the UltraFit building, but from how the code is written, building 1, building 2, the gym, the square footage and plus the square footage of the professional office, they do meet all parking requirements within lot 1.
Okay, then my other concern is that driveway go back there, you put a fire truck or a hook and ladder or whatever back there, where are they gonna turn around?
Right now, when the development site plan was approved for this project for the lot 1, there's a temporary turnaround, or there's a fire lane going behind lot 1, which meets the requirements for a fire truck to turn around, which the fire marshal did review and did approve on the
And if
development
it goes
site plan.
back to the backside of the lot 2,
Right,
is
and
there a
when,
turnaround back there also?
when Lot 2 is developed, they're going to have to develop and make sure they meet all fire code requirements. They will still have to meet all development site plan requirements when they're in the development stage of Lot 2.
Okay.
Trent, you're referring to Lot 1. This really is for Lot 1 and 2, is it not?
The plat is for Lot 1 and Lot 2. And once again, this is the plat and not the development site plan.
So we're not doing it, we're not dealing with lot 2 now.
Well, no, you're approving Lot 1 and 2. They're
Yeah.
platting the entire property
Okay.
for Lot 1 and 2, sir.
That was my question.
Right, the questions that Mr. Morgan was asking was, it sounded like more specifically for the development on Lot 1 for the parking, and then he had questions about the fire lane for Lot 2.
Okay, but this plat is for both lots.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any other questions?
I got a quick question.
Yes, sir.
What is the purpose of the 24-foot access easement from the north? Wasn't that there before it was a flag lot?
Yes, are you talking about the one where Aaron's is located at, sir?
Yes.
That was there. That was recorded years ago with another plat back in 2001.
Okay, on that. piece of
It's a 24-foot access easement to the property line. And I'd need to look closer into the lot or into the records of why they granted it. But from what all the research I've been able to do, it just shows it stops at the property line. And just states private access easement. But one of the requirements for a plat, they need to show all access easements that exist on a plat.
Okay.
And so that's why that's listed there.
Is that 24-foot easement gonna be in for egress and egress from the property, from Aaron's, coming in from Aaron's?
For the plat, not as of right now. If Lot 2, if they decide to use it, that will be something that will be addressed during the development site plan phase.
If there's no other questions, do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept this plat.
Yeah, I have a motion, a second.
I'll second.
Hey, I have a motion and a second. All in favor, raise your right hand. Passes 4-1. One denial. Mr. Morgan. Yeah. I don't show any other business, Trent.
No, but if it's all right with you, I do have a couple items I'd like to address real quick.
Okay.
Nothing of serious note. One is Mr. Malone, as you all know. He's a great man. He had a heart attack last month. So just keep him in your thoughts and prayers. But he's a great guy if you've ever met him. And hopefully we get to see him come back pretty soon to the commission. But yeah, just please, Mr. Morgan has been able to keep me up to date on his situation.
I went
And so
saw
far
it
it's
today.
positive, so we're happy about that. More on a lighter, we do have another meeting, August 18th. I will be out of town next week, so I have the staff report done. I have everything ready to go, and that'll be shipped out to you tomorrow for all of you to look at. So you'll have a couple weeks to mull over the request. And another note, we have a visitor here today, our new deputy city manager, Mr. E.A. Hoppy, and I believe you've all had a chance to meet him. And that's all I have for you today.
Okay, if there's no other business, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. We're adjourned.